Hi, everybody. This is Jared. I want to welcome you to our video series, The Rebels Playbook, How to Defeat the Regime When the Republic is at Risk. This is episode 1, Why Resist? And we're stepping into chapter 2. In chapter 1, we talked about why resistance is important, when it becomes necessary, and how individuals like ourselves can protect our country. In this episode, we're going to talk more about how the founders knew that this could happen, right? And the tools they gave us to protect ourselves and what we should be doing when we realize, hey, these tools don't always work. So here's the reality, right? The founders of our country always knew it was a strong possibility, no pun intended, that a strong man could step forward, could channel people's anger, and could leverage that to basically grab a hold of the reins of all the different functions of government. You have to remember that the founders had just got done fighting a war against King George III and the British government, right? So they understood completely that a despot can absolutely be in charge of a country and can limit the options for people who want representation and who want individual liberties. Our first form of government after the surrender, after terms were agreed to with the British, was called, it was under a document called the Articles of Confederation. The Articles of Confederation created a government that was fairly weak. The central government was pretty weak to the point where it basically didn't function. And you had 13 states who pretty much did whatever they wanted. So under that system, if a state didn't want to pay taxes to the central government, it didn't have to. And there was really no way to compel it to from the central government's perspective. If a state didn't want to chip in troops, it didn't have to for common defense, right? And so obviously what will happen is if one state says, I'm not paying taxes, it doesn't take long for the others to say, well, if they're not going to pay, I'm not going to pay. And before you know it, it's wonderful to be in favor of democratic values, but if you can't preserve and protect them, then your government isn't going to last very long. So very quickly, the founders realized they had to go back to the drawing board, and that was when they created the U.S. Constitution. And in that Constitution, they built in tools to prevent a strong single leader from taking control, or even a handful of leaders from taking control. They gave us things like the separation of powers, right? Those 3 branches of government that you're familiar with. They gave us federalism, that national, state, and local government that kind of spread the power out vertically. They gave us the Bill of Rights, which is basically an enumeration of our individual liberties, right? And they put that in there purposely so that we would never lose sight of the fact that individual human beings living in this country have rights. They gave us an independent court system where judges were appointed and they got to operate kind of separate from both the other branches of government, so they couldn't really be leaned on by an executive or leaned on by the Congress, and also independent from voters, with obviously some exceptions. We do have at the local level, the county level, we do have elections for judges from time to time. But generally, the court system is pretty independent of the other branches and from the will of the people, which is a good thing because you don't want to be electing who's going to be enforcing the laws or deciding the laws, and then electing different people if they just don't like the way they're interpreting the laws, right? That would be a disaster. And they give us civic participation. We as individuals get to vote. We get to choose our representatives. We get to have direct input on certain, referenda at the state level. And this is lovely. It's been expanded over the years, and we've obviously brought more and more people into the voting system from where we started in the early times after the creation of the Constitution, right? So we have all of these tools in place to preserve our democratic values. But those tools only work if leaders actually follow the rules. And what we're seeing today more and more is that the rule of law is being bent to serve one faction, right? The courts are actually being packed with loyalists who are going to interpret the laws however the leader decides. Laws are being used to punish critics. And, we are seeing it right now where the president is literally using his agents in different agencies to go after specific cities because they have policies that the president doesn't like. We're seeing our institutions being hollowed out from the inside so that they still look the same and they kind of seem to appear the same and function the same, but they're really just not functioning at all. So when the system begins to break down like this, the burden shifts to us, the citizens, to take things to the next level. And that's where resistance comes in, okay? In the next chapter, you're going to hear more about how the founders said that it would become our job to restore order if and when the tools they put in place ceased to do their job. So we will see you in chapter 3.